Hey everybody, welcome to The Well. This is a show where we do what you do, and we're going to take you on that journey to see how we've developed our financial advisory practice as digital marketers turned financial advisors.
All right, welcome back to The Well. We have a special episode today. We have special guests and really the ones that make all of this work here with us today. So this is going to be a good one.
Yeah, if you guys have watched other episodes of The Well, you've seen our seminar replay series, and Richy and I have been kind of detailing and kind of documenting our journey from never having done seminars before as producers to this point now. We've been doing them for over a year. What we have talked about a little bit is that throughout that whole process, both Hannah and Crystal have been heavily involved from everything from, before the seminar starts with the marketing all the way through to, the appointment setting process, client retention, all that stuff. They're integral to what we're doing. And we couldn't be prouder than we are to have them here with us to talk through kind of those things. So
let me just put it this way. If I've ever had something work out in my life, it's probably an idea that I brought up with you first and you have me sharpen it. So it's definitely what makes everything work here. So in this episode, we thought we'd just break it down kind of all encompassing. We'll go before, during, and after the seminar. And then we'll dive in as this kind of continues on with different episodes, getting really, really specific. But why don't you guys, who are you? What's your names?
Go for it.
You can tell they love being on camera.
Yeah, we're like, you're coming. Hey, your words are seriously important. People need to know what you guys have to say because they're out there doing the same thing, and you guys make it tick. So I'll introduce you. This is Hannah, my wife. We're high school sweethearts. We've been married almost 15 years. Have 3 kids together. And I just appreciate you. And Hannah focuses mostly on the front side of things, right?
Yes, I do confirmation calls, and then I do customer relations.
Yeah.
And this is my wife, Crystal. She and I have been married for almost 16 years.
You have to one-up us like that.
And we also have twice as many children. And we have 6 children who are all at home right now watching themselves.
They are.
And assuming there are no emergencies, everything will go smoothly. Crystal handles primarily... Hannah and Crystal both at the seminar kind of dealing with the processes during the seminar, and then right after the seminar, Crystal handles all the appointment confirmation process. They work together on data entry as well, and kind of Crystal keeps us on track with our scheduling after the seminar because there's a lot of appointments and confirmations and getting people their links and all that stuff. So, what have you experienced with working with your husband? Do you like that?
Honestly, yeah. I was a little worried about that. I was just talking to somebody who also works with her husband, and we were just going back and forth about how it's a little nervous. We see each other a lot because, I don't know if you've said, but like you work at home a lot, so we see each other all day, and then now we see each other every night, like during the seminars. But I think the togetherness has been good. I don't think we've like run into any like huge challenges.
Just adjusting my mic here.
Yeah, adjust it.
It's got a little...
And I would say the same for us. I mean, so we had, when we were in high school, your dad had Triple J Lawn Care.
Yeah.
And I used to work for them mowing lawns, and so I used to joke it's Triple J and our lawn care. So we worked together then and got along well, and I think that's carried into this business as well. I haven't seen anything.
Yeah.
You're probably he's super annoying. Get me out of here. But.
No, actually, so in one of our meetings, he had like a Excel spreadsheet. And I was like, whoa, super hot. Did not realize that he was really a numbers guy. Kind of nerdy.
I do. I love a good spreadsheet.
Yeah.
I love a good spreadsheet.
It's been fun to see, I think, the skill sets that, both Hannah and Crystal are amazing parents and have run their houses well, but seeing them kind of in a different role for me has been, I don't know, it's really rewarding. I've always known that Crystal had that ability.
Right.
And always felt a little bad that it wasn't being leveraged, and now I feel like it's...
Just saved it for now.
Yeah, saved it for now. Saved it for the big time.
Because what makes RA work, our other business, and what makes this work and what makes me and you work is there's things that you're good at that I'm straight up just not good at.
Yeah.
And vice versa. And you guys have gifts that we don't have. And so the 4 of us pooling those gifts together to make this work has been pretty fun. So,
yeah.
Well, let's start with before the seminar then. We use RA marketing for all of our marketing. Of course, yeah. We're running primarily dinner seminars. We've done, 36?
I think so. That sounds right.
Total events over the last, just over 12 months. So 36 events in 12 months. It's been a lot.
It's been a lot.
It's been a lot. So So what we do at RA, you know, the ads start on a Thursday typically, and then they start coming in. I mean, like clockwork, we know, you know, 12 days later we're going to have a seminar. And so the team gets us the leads and they go onto a roster. So let's talk through kind of the confirmation process. Hannah, you're dealing with most of the calls and confirming people. I mean, just because what's our appointment or show up rate? It's like 60%?
It's
About 60.
Yeah, it's 60, 65 in some cases. I
Yeah.
mean, dinners are typically a little higher than lunches, but yeah, our attendance rate is great.
And of course, we've had a couple that are like 40% or whatever. Like, you're going to have those.
Yeah.
But overall, the average has been above average. So take us through. I mean, I don't know. Share your wealth. Let's get in that brain of yours.
So we get registrants on Thursday, and then I start making the calls the day after. And so that's with everything. So it's always the day after they register. I will give them a call, and I usually do it in the afternoon because it seems like most of the time they answer the phone calls. And that is like the ultimate goal is to talk to them, because the first point of contact I think is extremely important, and they get a good idea of like what the seminar is going to be like. And then I will always give a call the day before, especially if I haven't spoken to them. I will make sure I call them on Monday before the seminar.
Now, are you leaving voicemails if you don't get a hold of them?
I do leave voicemails.
What does that
Yes.
sound like? Give us a...
It's basically just letting them know that, hey, I have your registration and we're looking forward to seeing you. This is the time. If you have any questions, give me a call back or a text message and I'll be in contact with you.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hannah's pretty humble about it, but like, I think you crush it. Like, I can hear you. Like, we're funny. Like, if I'm talking on the phone about you guys, I have to walk around. I don't really want to be in one stationary, like... So Hannah's thing is the door's got to be closed, and she's in there doing her thing, and I can hear her through the door, and she's always like, the people you do get on the phone with, you know, she's asking about their grandkids within like 2 minutes, like
Yes.
having conversations with them, getting to know them, and they usually know you when they come to the seminar pretty well too. But okay, so you make your first call within 24 hours, you would say. Sometimes you let them stack up.
Sometimes, yeah. If there's like one registrant, I'm like, okay, I'll give them a call.
Yeah.
And it does also depend on the day they register. So a lot of times if it's a Thursday and I can't get to everyone on Friday, Saturday is also another perfect day to make calls because no one's at work and I get to talk to them. And so that's kind of a way that I trap them into it. And I'm like, well, I'm going to call them and talk to them and get to know them. And yeah.
Sundays you don't make calls.
I don't make calls on Sundays, no.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And
You
then-
mentioned something that I want to kind of go
Yeah.
back to a little bit.
Yeah.
You get to talk to them. I think of people that are doing confirmation calls for their own seminars look at those confirmation calls as an obligation,
Yeah.
and they look at it as like kind of a task, a dreary, like I don't want to do this, and that definitely comes through when they're making those calls.
Yes.
I think the reason our attendance rate is probably better than all of our clients, or maybe not all of our clients, but a lot of our clients, is the attitude going into that call has to be right. And I think a lot of times people look at that as just a task that they have to check off. But it's important to go into every task that you do, regardless if it's confirmation calls or paperwork or whatever, with the right attitude, right mindset. But what I think is interesting is you're doing exactly what we've told people to do for years.
Exactly.
In terms of like, people ask, well, how does your confirmation or like, what is your confirmation process? We've had multiple agents like, hey, can we talk to Hannah? Can we figure out, because your attendance ratio is so much better than ours? And it's like, she's just doing what we tell people to do.
Yeah.
We didn't reinvent the wheel for our
Right.
seminars. We just said, hey, what have we told people to do for the last 10 years? Hannah, can you do that? And she's like, yeah, I can do that. And she goes into it with that positive. She gets to talk to these people instead of
Yeah.
saying, I have to talk to these people.
Yeah.
So that was something you said that I don't know if people would have picked up on, but I think is an important note on that. So
Yeah, I
anyway.
enjoy talking to the people and trying to find like something that we may have in common. Like a lot of times we'll get people who are from my dad's hometown, and that's something I can connect with them on and just be like, oh, hey, I see that you're from this town and my dad's from there. And usually they're about the same age. And the funny thing is that one of the people that he came to the seminar and we did business with him. He actually lives a block and a half away from my uncle. And so that was really cool. And he knew my uncle and he's like, oh yeah, I know them. And so it's fun to connect with people. And also the connection is really good to have going into the seminar, because if it's not a good like observation that they have from me, it kind of reflects on the company. So if I'm like, hey, you registered, we can't wait to see you. Or it's, hey, I'm so glad that you registered and here's all the information. We can't wait to see you. And
You know what I've never heard you say once? How much money do you have?
oh
on
yeah, I
those
don't
calls?
ask about
I don't
it.
know who needs to hear this, but don't ask about their money on that
Don't
call.
ask,
It's,
yeah.
it's the worst thing you can do.
Yeah.
You need to connect with them, be friendly, just like you are. We're not asking about their money. We're not asking about their current, financial situations or anything like that. It's just connecting with them, being friendly with them, and getting them to show up. And RA is sending text and emails, so those are going out already. So it's really
Yeah.
just phone call work
Yeah.
on that front side. And you'll get a couple text messages too that you'll reply to and those things. But great.
All right, well, we're about 15 minutes in, not quite 15 minutes into this episode.
We're gonna have
so
to do
let's-
an episode. We're gonna have to break these down.
We might have to break these into multiple episodes, but let's move on to during the seminar when everybody gets there. And I'm sorry if that's making a weird noise, but this little stand just keeps moving on me, so I'm just going to keep messing with it. So during the day of, we typically do, as you've probably heard before, a lunch and a dinner on the same day. So Crystal, take us through just when we get to the venue. What's kind of the first things that start to happen when we get there?
Yeah, so we try to get there about an hour early, just because you never know what's going to happen. Like, are your waiters there? I know before once there weren't enough waiters, and we were just like, hey, we really need two. That's something you learn after going through quite a few of them, just what you need. We always do like a little site review, especially if it's one we haven't been to before. And every time I think we move the tables around. And even if we've been there like 5 times, I think we still move the tables around. I don't know. We haven't hit like that perfection yet. Or we like to try things different and try things that are new. So we meet the waiters. We try to get some good rapport going with them. I think, I don't know if you guys have ever talked about it, but waiters at a dinner seminar can really like make or break it.
That's a good point.
So if they know that we're friendly and engaging with them, they feel comfortable coming to us with their questions. That's a big one. I feel like if they don't feel comfortable coming to us with their questions, we've had things missed, like dessert or just, the meal hasn't gone as smoothly. And while they're there to hear you, they're there to eat too. So we wanted the whole process just to feel like really nice.
Yeah, establishing rapport with the staff is huge.
Right.
Because we've definitely had it where they were tough,
Yep.
and it was tough to get them to engage with us. But we've had others where they've been much more engaged. And I think when we get there and everybody establishing some repartee, if you will.
You guys always do a really good job, like you and Rich, with making it feel like it's like they're part of the team too. Like it's not like we're against the waiters or the waiters are against us. Like all of us are working together right now.
Yeah. And Paul's good at that too.
Yeah, Paul's
Paul's such a ham, and like, he just gets in there and starts flirting with everybody. And
True.
he's really good at that. But
It's like your dad.
It
He
is,
splits
yeah.
with everybody.
He does. He's amazing. Yeah.
But let's back up just one day before the seminar, because Hannah's making all those confirmation calls like crazy, and then our house is kind of a flurry of activity as well. So
Yeah.
what's going on that day
Ours
before?
is like, I don't know, the paper house. We typically keep all of the papers, and so we're making the folders, we're making the packets for appointments. Usually you're running to some type of a paper place
Office
to get
Depot, 'cause I forgot something.
to get something. So actually our older 2 kids help us make the folders and the packets. That's something that they feel they really love. They feel involved. They feel like they can help. I wouldn't advise if it's like a 5-year-old having them stuff all your packets, but ours are 14 and almost 13. So we just lay it all out on the table and do an assembly line.
Yeah.
And I think we've gotten it pretty like nailed down.
I remember the first seminar, I was freaking out because I was like, I had
Only the
to.
first seminar.
So you may not know this about Andrew Riis, but I'm a little bit neurotic. I tend to want to maintain control over things, and it's not always a healthy thing. The first seminar, probably the first 5 seminars, I had to print everything. I had to stuff everything, and like I'm getting paper cuts, and I'm getting frustrated, and I'm going slow, and
Crinkling the paper.
yeah, and Crystal finally was like, "Let me help." Let me help. And it's been amazing. Now I call it the sweatshop. I spool up the sweatshop, and Jenny and Jensen get in there, and I say, all right, here's the appointment packets, and here's the black folders. You know what order everything goes in. I've printed everything. It's collated. Go to work.
And it's not always that much work because sometimes we make extra so that we'll be set up just like that much more for the next seminar.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that too. Like one thing we did early on is we put a go bag together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a suitcase that has everything that we're gonna need, electronics, like the projectors in there. You guys put the papers in there.
Mm-hmm.
Hannah and I have never, because we don't do the paperwork you guys do, and you bring the equipment most of the times, every time. I have never once been like, Hannah, what if they forget something?
Oh, yeah,
Like,
no,
I know
it's
you're
never
not
crossed
forgetting.
my
You
mind.
guys crush that.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna be there. It's gonna be perfect.
That's that neuroses.
Yeah, that's also a gift, right? I mean,
our
that
gift.
helps everything go
It's a gift. It's a gift or a curse.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it works either way.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're at the venue. Everything is set up, and we take 15 minutes to set the room, make sure the chairs and tables are right, and then the screen's up, projector's up. When do people typically arrive?
So early, much earlier than we ever thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's not uncommon to start seeing people even a half hour earlier.
Yes.
Let me ask you guys this. Do you think the people that show up early are more serious or less serious about what we have to offer?
I think it's a mixture. I think some of the people that have come have been really good clients of ours,
Yeah.
and then others are just there early. But
Okay, it's an
I don't
interesting
know what
thought because
Crystal thinks.
if they show up late, usually it's for the food only.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I have a thought. But
Okay, go ahead.
Crystal has
Okay,
actually
Crystal.
talked about it before.
So I feel like the people who are early, I almost love them because I have a feeling that it's just in their mindset. Like, I'm going to be early to my appointment. I'm going to show up for my appointment. I'm going to
good
bring
point.
all of my papers. I'm just going to be prepared. There's definitely those few that come early, just I think they're bored, especially for
Yeah.
lunch because they don't have as much going on. But definitely I feel like the appointment stick ratio for people who arrive early is there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's we
Same
I
thought.
don't we kind of randomly we talked about that a few
Yeah.
weeks ago, and she's like, those people that show up early, when they set an appointment, they show up.
Yeah, they're there.
And they're so
Yeah.
maybe they're just I don't know, maybe they're neurotic like me, and like they're
just preparing,
Just
and getting
preparing or
mentally
whatever.
ready and
Yeah,
want
I-
a good seat.
yeah, I don't know what it is. I think you're right though. The lunch people, that's not. It's so hard to know. Like,
Yeah, I mean, you do get a mixed bag, just
Yeah.
always. But yeah, interesting thought there.
but it brings up a good point. Like because you don't know, you have to treat every single person that comes in as a potential
Yeah,
client, and that was something we worked through a few months ago. It's like we have to protect our mindset on seminar day.
yeah,
Because it's very easy, especially when you're spending $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 on food, to look at somebody and say, they don't have any money, I don't want to deal with them, or that person's only here for the food, I don't want to deal with them. It's very easy to go down that path, and we've all been guilty of it,
oh yeah.
and we've all even joked around about it, but it's something that we've, as a team, have recognized, hey, we can't do that. We have to protect that mindset.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that's a great point. Because on seminar day is not the day, and again, we're not perfect, and we learned this through the 36 events that we've done. But to this point, like on seminar day, that's not the day that you allow those thoughts to creep in. Like it's game time on seminar day. Everybody needs to be, because the thing is they had 10 invites to seminars that were on the same day as ours, and they came to ours. So our goal is we have to be better than what they would have gone to. And we say that at the seminar, like our goal, who's been to one of these before? And they raise their hands. Like, okay, our goal is that this is the last one you ever have to go to. And we mean it. Like, we're going to do things a little bit more perfect than the other guys are. And that's what makes us stand out. So you guys and your organizational skills makes that like so much easier. Like you guys, when you're relating to people as they walk in and you're inviting and you're checking them in, so much easier. Like it's been pretty smooth.
all right, so describe that process, both of you. When somebody walks in the door, what's the first thing that happens?
Crystal and I are always there at the front of the door to greet everybody coming in. And Crystal is so good at writing names down, and her handwriting is perfect.
Okay.
Maybe Ethan can, it's not perfect.
Yeah. She will write the names down, and I'll get them their folders and their pens, and then we just tell them like they can sit wherever they want, and they have a name tag, so then we know who they are, and we can talk to them by name. 'cause
That's
it's
been really
hard.
helpful.
Yeah.
Because we didn't always do name tags for people.
When did we start that, in January, February, I think?
Yeah,
It was
I
after
think
we went
so.
out to Pennsylvania to...
It was, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, he gave us that idea and we tried it and he was right. 100%. We write our name. We used to do like official name tags, and now we just write
do
our own
name
paper
tags.
name
Yeah.
tags.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
but then you could call Mary in the audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's been good. And even when because I'll hear you when you're talking to people in the beginning, confirmation calls, I'll remember names, and now I can put a face to that name.
Yeah.
That's been nice too.
It's good for me afterwards, too. I feel like it helps.
Yeah.
Well, Paul is really great. I know he's not here, but he does seating charts for people, and the name tags really help him. And then they really help me when I'm going back looking through and entering different data, because I'm like, oh yeah, that person who has a horse, or I can just write little things about them.
Yeah. All right, so everybody's showing up.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing in the in-between time from, let's say the first people show up if we're doing a lunch at noon, people are starting to show up around 11:30, 11:45. You're seating people. What are you also doing in the in-between time? Do you guys interact with people? What are you doing with Paul? Because Richy and I are usually trying to get our heads right because we're about to present.
I'm trying to stay away from everybody.
Yeah,
in the beginning,
protect that energy.
I'm trying to like mentally prepare to perform, and I again appreciate you guys that we don't have to be doing that stuff. So we're off to the side. So yeah, like, what does that look like for you guys from the time people are seated really to the end of the seminar? Like, what are some tips, tricks? What do you guys do?
I think it's really, well, I don't know. I feel like Hannah and I both do a good job recognizing people who want to talk and who don't. There are some people that love to tell you everything, and I feel like it's really, it's good though, because you get to know them and understand them, and a lot of times they remember Hannah. There's some people that just want to be left alone, so I think we kind of have to just feel each person out. You can kind of tell when they walk toward that door how it's going to go.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, we still talk to them, but usually it's like a quick little conversation, then we'll go to the next table, and then we see someone else coming in, so we'll be like, oh, I'll be right back, and we'll go check someone else in. But yeah, it is a good time to like get to know them and remember some things and put it in our notes at the end.
The other thing that you guys do, once the seminar starts, we give our presentation, like we're through it, and we start offering appointments. And we use a blue sheet to gather appointments. But we always say, like, get aggressive. You know, Crystal and Henry, Paul are going to go around the room and start collecting those things. And you guys do. Like, you go and get those sheets. It's like, you're eyeballing them. It's like, they have a blue sheet, I'm going to go get that thing.
Yeah, that's been huge, because I think a lot of folks that run these seminars, it's just it's a solopreneur. You know, it's a husband and a wife team. It's just two of them, and so they don't have as many eyeballs. I was actually talking to a guy, Tim, down in Florida yesterday, and he's like, "How many people do you have at your seminars?" I was like, "There's 5 of us." He's like, "5? That's a lot." I'm like, "Yeah, but we don't miss anything. Like we get every single blue sheet back, and we get as many appointments as is possible." Because we're not missing anything. When we say go get the blue sheets, we got 3 people in the room going to get the blue sheets.
Which we'll go over this tip soon, but our appointment ratio went from up 20% recently with this tip that we'll give you guys soon. But go ahead and give a thought.
Well, I was just gonna say, because like yes, we have 5 people, 5, 6, 5, and it's amazing. But then there has to be like defined roles, because if there isn't, there can be mistakes.
Yeah. Sure, yeah,
with the blue sheets
too many chiefs type thing. Everybody's
But I think we've worked through all that, and we all know what we're doing, and it works out really good.
Definitely a learning process.
Yes.
But I think like one thing the 4 of us have done really well is learn from each one.
Yeah.
And it's not always huge learns, but like there's always been something where we just try to get that much more efficient or that much more productive.
Yeah. And that's we on the RA side of things and on the plan-wise side of things, that's something that I think is a cultural thing that Richy and I have both built into the businesses. We're never satisfied with the status quo. Even if something goes really well, what can we infer from that?
Especially if it goes really well.
Especially when it goes really well.
Let's learn, let's test, let's split test. Like, let's go every time.
We've done that with our presentation like so many times.
Yes, we have.
We keep saying we're not gonna go back to the replay thing because we're not gonna make any major changes, and then we make a huge change.
Yeah, we've got a huge big replay episode coming.
We got a big replay episode coming for sure. But okay, so presentation's done. Blue sheets are collected. This is really where your role as the appointment, like Hannah's really built the relationships up the upfront. We've given the presentation. Now we're getting them to know, like, and trust us. And this is where your neuroses of processes really picks up. So take us through. Basically, we've got the appointments now. Paul, Hannah, and Crystal have completed the appointment packets, and we can go into that another time if we want to. But next day, after the seminar is over, what does that process look like for you?
So the one thing we do have in the seminar is a master calendar. It's with all of our available times that we really want to handpick that people can choose from. So the master calendar is like my lifeline. And the next day, the first thing I do is really just go through the master calendar, go through all the blue sheets to make sure that everything matches up. Times match up, the dates match up. And the first thing I do after that is put them in your calendar, because you guys are both really busy. You're busy with RA, you're busy with PlanWise. I know sometimes the RA employees are waiting for me because they're like, we need to schedule things too. So definitely just having everything on the calendar, seeing it all together on the calendar, like what days are you going to be busy, what days are you going to have light days. That helps me know too when I can try to fill in other appointments for maybe people from the seminar before who haven't quite committed to an appointment. And then after that, I just start entering all of their information, as much information as I can remember from just Hannah and I talking to people or on their blue sheet goes into our CRM. Even if it's something tiny, like next month we're going to Florida. It doesn't matter. I mean, some things go on the front, some things go maybe a little bit in the back because they're not as important, but just the more personable and the more we can know about people, I think is really good.
Yeah. And recently we started using a calendar service
Right.
at the seminar. That was actually another Tim idea.
Yep. Thank you, Tim.
So I built that out, but as much as you can describe kind of what that looks like to the consumer, because we don't actually have
Right.
them schedule it.
Yep.
Crystal uses that tool.
Right. We did try having them schedule it. That seemed like a bit much. People are like 60s, 70s.
Trying to use a QR code.
Right.
Parents didn't want
In
that.
We may go back
in
to
our
it.
mind, it was great.
We'll
but
try it.
Tim,
I
if
don't
you're
know.
watching, we're gonna try it again. I
We'll try.
promise.
We'll try it.
I promise. We'll try it again.
So we have different appointment categories set up. So if it's right after the seminar, I pick the category that is for after the seminar. It's usually sectioned out to an hour. And the information it wants is their name, their email, their phone number. It will send them a text and it will send them an email. It will send a questionnaire that you guys kind of like to get over just to have another level of communication with people before their appointment. I can change things. The one thing we did learn is that you can't easily change spelling errors. So no spelling errors. That wasn't me.
That was my fault.
But it's really great because you can see a list of all of your appointments for us. They can see, it sends them an email. Thanks for coming. Here's what to look for. Here's where to park. Here's our address. What else am I thinking?
Just specific
Yeah.
expectations in that
Right.
email. It is like...
I love it when I see this and it's full of appointments.
Can I say something too based on that? Because you were talking about the CRM earlier, and you guys, Hannah, we didn't always do it this way, but as they register, you put them in the CRM now, like with the immediate kind of information that we have. And then after the seminar, Crystal updates everything and puts more information there. I can't tell you how valuable that is, though. Like with all those appointments you just showed, I don't remember faces that well, and I hardly remember the names. And that's a bad thing that I need to work on, is remember people's names better. But I just don't. And so like I'm 10 appointments deep in the week. Like I don't remember who's coming in next. So I always go to that CRM and I'll read those quick notes more than you think I do. And it triggers my memory and I go, oh yeah. And Paul usually will do like a picture.
He hasn't been lately.
Yeah, Paul. Hey, Paul.
Step it up, man.
Yeah.
I wanted the CRM to have pictures. I think that would be
that's
so
a great idea.
helpful.
Oh, that
You know,
would
like
be-
a doctor's
that's a great idea.
office. Like, this is that person. This is the
We gotta make a
person.
phone call.
Yeah.
Another business right there.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, because the pictures, it helps you connect the dots and you remember who it is you're talking to. And
Yep.
but yeah, get in that CRM, use that, and don't allow your team to not put in good notes, and don't allow yourself to not put in good notes.
Yeah.
It's just too valuable.
Yeah. Richie knows this about me when it comes to CRMs.
Oh, you're
Like,
you're
I do not care what CRM system we are using.
Yeah.
But we all have to be using it, and we all have to be using it consistently. I don't care what the process is,
Right.
but let's be consistent about it. Because at the end of the day, if I'm flying blind or if Richie's flying blind in an appointment, like there's nothing worse than looking like a fool.
Oh, it's so difficult
And I
too.
hate
like,
that. Like they're like, oh, I talked to Hannah, or I talked to Crystal, and I'm like, I didn't know that. Like, and
because
then,
this business only works around confidence. Like,
Right.
what I'm showing them, they have to have 100% confidence that I know it's going to work and that I know it's right. And so any little thing that I don't have confidence in, they see that and it'll destroy the appointment. So
live and die by that CRM.
yes.
And also with getting information, because the clients will tell all of us different things, like about their lives or something. And so when I call them a few months after with them becoming clients or whatever, just to check in, see how they're doing, I can look through all those notes and know a whole lot more about their lives. And I can be like, how are your grandkids? I see that you're going to Florida soon, or whatever it may be, and that's another way to connect with them and keep that relationship going.
It's the Michael Scott Rolodex.
That's right.
It is.
All the information's in there.
Yeah.
Green means go ahead and don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Don't say that.
Well, it's great for us because we aren't always in the same space. So
Right.
where some people have an office and it's like, hey, did you know that Sally had a grandkid? We don't have that interaction as easily. So almost like our CRM is our office where we can
That's a good
interact
point.
with each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. We all communicate in that tool.
Right.
We also, we communicate off of that as well. Like we have
Yeah.
we have a group chat for the four of us on Google Chat that is I don't know, I don't remember what it's just a little silly emoji thing. But anyway,
Yeah.
it's just how we communicate with each other and just making. Hey, I talked to Susie the other day, right? Hey, I connected with Billy and they're confirmed or whatever. It's just little stuff like that. Communication is
reporting
key.
back successes and wins. Hey, we had a great appointment. Everybody, you guys crushed it. I mean, that's important.
Yeah.
I don't know if you said this or not yet. Did you make phone calls too, right? Everybody schedules an appointment and then you call.
I do. Yeah. That was part of the learning process. I think there were some people where initially we started calling them right away. You got a call, you got an email, you got a text, and there's been some feedback where it's like, wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
A lot for me. So the day after, they get their text and they get their email, and then they won't get a call from me for a couple of days. And I think that's kind of okay. If they have an appointment that's scheduled out really far, which I know you guys have talked about, don't schedule them a month out if you can help it. If it's scheduled out a couple of weeks, I try to touch base with them within a week, just so they don't forget about us. Because the worst thing is when I call and I'm like, hey, it's Crystal from PlanWise, and they're like, who? You just you want to be fresh in their mind, but also you don't want to annoy people and have them feel like you're attacking them.
Right.
Yeah, I actually didn't know that. I thought you were calling all those people the day after. So that's news to me.
News
but
to me too. Go ahead.
the positive thing is
Exactly.
I've noticed that the appointment stick ratio has been higher
It has been. That's what I was about to say.
in the last probably 2 or 3 months.
Yep.
Because you're right, it was like pound the phones the day after. And
Well, it gives me a reason to call them if I wait a couple of days. Because then I can say, hey, I just want to make sure that you receive my email and that you understand what to expect. Otherwise, I'm calling with the same information as the email.
Yeah.
And I'm just repeating the same thing. And
Yeah.
they probably don't have questions because they probably haven't looked at their email yet. Because a lot of times they don't look at their email for a few days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
And the other thing about that I just realized, we haven't talked about it, if you're sending an email from a custom domain, like ours is plan-wise.com,
Yep.
that does not have nearly the credibility with the email servers and all that stuff that Calendly does.
True.
So prior to using Calendly, our deliverability was probably quite low on those emails, or it was going to people's spam folders or junk folders or whatever. Calendly has an incredible reputation with the email servers, so those emails always get delivered. So now,
it's fast.
and it's fast. It's real fast, and they're getting a text and an email.
Yep.
So that's probably another factor that I hadn't really considered until this moment. But those emails are getting there. Where in the past, if you sent an email, you kind of did have to call and check because
Right.
they might have gotten it, but it might have been their spam folder. Now you know it's in their inbox, without question.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, Melanie, my sister, I'm doing a podcast right now. I'll call you back.
yeah, come on, Mel.
Yeah.
She called me earlier, too. Oh, man.
Nice. Well played.
Okay. We are nearing the end here because
Yeah.
I want to be respectful of everybody's listening
We'll
time.
come back
here.
and do individual episodes because there's been a lot here, but it's been so good.
Yeah. I mean, from this point, Hannah does such a great job of building the relationship at the front side. Crystal's maintaining that relationship through the back side, and Richy and I are kind of maintaining the relationships through the appointment setting process. I think the key takeaway for me in this whole thing is leverage people's strengths. Because if I'm being honest, I can't make the phone calls that Hannah makes before the seminar. I don't have that personality. So you have to have somebody on your team. If it's not you, hire a virtual assistant, pay somebody to do it. But make sure that personality comes through on the front side. And then on the back side, make sure there's somebody that's a little bit neurotic about appointments and calendars and scheduling, because if I didn't have Crystal keeping me honest on the appointment stuff, I'd get lost.
Oh, yeah, I would be lost.
And I'm like, who is this person you sent appointment? She's like, oh, it's this person. And the detail of notes that are going into the CRM and all this stuff, it's really, it makes the whole thing tick. So don't rely just on yourself.
Yeah.
Don't rely on just one person. And I know that it's maybe we have an advantage because we got lucky and we found spouses that made this easy for us, so to speak.
Yep.
That those skill sets were already there. But man, I feel incredibly blessed to have the skill sets of the four of us at this table, because it makes everything work really, really well.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been a fun journey so far, and I can't wait to see how far it goes. And before we wrap up, everybody take off a shoe.
Do we have to?
Everybody take off a shoe.
Do we have to?
Well, I don't
Because
know.
usually we're at
Let
these
me-
chairs.
Let me see if I.
Okay, one at a time, or are we going all in?
Yeah, go one at a time, and you can talk about your shoe.
Go ahead,
maybe.
Andrew.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is the Gold Toe NRG. This is,
It's backwards.
well,
Oh, you're gonna spin it.
Oh, we
it
should have
alternates.
a rotator tape.
We should have a rotator tape. Oh, it's a good idea.
Oh man, next time.
Lazy Susan.
This shoe was purchased specifically for family pictures this year. Follow me on social media, and if you don't, you should, because I post like 3 times a year, and I'm super engaging on social media.
Yeah.
But Crystal always does an amazing job of coordinating outfits for 6 children and 2 adults. And this year the theme was red, gold, and black Kardashian Christmas card.
Yeah.
And so when I heard that, I was like,
Yep.
Jordan makes a gold and black shoe. And so these shoes...
Nice.
I think that was your first used shoe.
These are my
actually.
first used
It
shoes.
is,
I'd never purchased a pair of J's from eBay before, but it was a good experience. They verified that they're real. This is also the first pair of shoes that I put the toe guards in, because they're patent leather.
There you go.
And if
My
I
man.
don't wear the toe guards with these, they'll
My
crease
man.
really, really bad. So these are... I always say this. These are one of my favorite colorways, just
Nice.
because they're so different, and they just look baller. So
Nice.
yeah,
There you go.
That's what Andrew's got on feet today.
Okay,
All right.
Crystal.
So mine are the pralines. I don't know if I can say this on the podcast, but I don't love this style of shoe on myself. Okay,
Ethan.
I'm really short.
cut,
No.
cut.
So I'm really short. So this takes up a lot of my leg. And I like to wear the shorter shoes. But Andrew convinced me to get these ones. I really liked their laces.
Look at those
No,
laces.
those laces
Yeah,
make
the
it.
laces kind of
Yeah.
make it. It's a good neutral color. It maybe is a bit spring, but I've been wearing them in fall.
Yeah. I love them. I think they're cute, and I think they make your legs look amazing. And whatever.
Hannah, go ahead. What do you got?
I have
Ooh.
the Low J's blue ice,
Yep.
and they're just, I don't know, beautiful and happy. I don't know
She,
how else to explain them. I really wanted them, and you got them for me, and so
She
I wear 'em all
saw
the time.
somebody at church, I think, wearing
I
them.
did. Yeah, someone
And
at
I think
church
you ran
had
up to her and was like,
I
"Oh
did.
my god, what are
I was
those?"
like, oh my gosh, what are those? Where'd you get them from? I need a pair. And she was like, oh yeah, I got them from here, and they're my favorite.
Nice. These are also my favorite right now. These are. Ooh. I just love these. I know
Those-
they're not
those-
for everybody,
Tattoos.
but my favorite Jordan is the 4, and so I've been collecting 4, and specifically the lasers recently. But these are from 2018, and they're called the Tattoos. I call them my Dalmatian shoes. 'Cause
I
they're
hadn't
kind
made
of-
that connection, but
Yep.
I can see that.
Yeah, they kind
Oh,
of
I
look like
just
that.
realized those are basketballs.
Yeah, there's the tattooed basketballs in
Wow.
there. But I just love these. I don't know why. Jordan 4 though, tattoos. Boom.
Yeah. It's good look.
Yep.
All right, we're gonna have to do this again, because there was a lot of stuff we skipped, from the appointments to the confirmation calls to the client retention stuff that Hannah's starting to do. Might see some colorful balloons
Yeah.
back
Oh,
here,
yeah, we're
some
taking
gifts
some
that we're
pictures
doing.
and-
We've got a lot more content to go over. But yeah, I appreciate you guys being here. And what did you say earlier, that the real reason you're here is because you're the masterminds behind this whole thing? What was that?
Yeah.
I mean, you said it, not me.
Got him. I think they're probably in front of this whole thing. You guys are leading it. You're doing a great job. So we appreciate the team here.
All right. Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Playing lines on 3.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, we couldn't even. That was way worse.
Okay. All right. Well, everybody.
Wait.
What?
All right.
All right. Get out of here.
All right.